maybe I'll call it academic, I don't even know, what do they call it? Like, what is it called? This is not a video that is going to bring down the public school system or make anybody feel bad about sending their scholar to public school. I have taught in some of the best public schools in the country. I have also taught at some of the worst public schools in the country. And so I've seen both sides of the spectrum, but I want to encourage you to make the decision that is best for your family. Make the decision that is best for your scholar. Homeschool focuses on the development of the whole child. Public school focuses on the development of academics. Period. That's it, that's all. They just want to make sure that they graduate these kids, they get these kids out the way so that they can get another set of kids through the door. They're not worried about whether your scholar has more. They're not worried about whether your scholar is respectful. They're not worried about whether your scholar has values. All right, and so it's important to make sure that when you're deciding, do I want to send my child to public school? Do I want to send my child to homeschool? You need to make sure you are considering these factors, all right? Considering the things of the public school system, all right? Another thing we see oftentimes, too often in the public school system is the lack of respect. Period. There's no respect for scholars. There's no respect for the adults within the system. Hi guys, welcome to Honeybee's Homeschool Hub. I am your host, Miss B. Hi, welcome to Honeybees. And today we are discussing a very, very important topic, the disadvantages and the advantages of the public school system. All right, we also discussed the disadvantages and the advantages of homeschooling. All right, I do prefer one or the other, but this video is not about me. This video is about you deciding what's best for who? You. Exactly. That don't have nothing to do with me. I'm just here to give you some perspective on the things that you should consider prior to making your school choice, your learning choice for your particular scholar. And so, yes, let's go over some things. I'm still a teacher at heart. But first, let me say this. Every family is different, okay? You cannot compare your homeschooling experience to your neighbor's homeschooling experience. Every family is different. So you have to do what is best for your family, all right? That is the very first thing when you're deciding, okay, what do I want to do, public school or homeschool? The great thing about homeschool is that you have the choice. You have the autonomy. You're able to do what you want to do when it comes to educating your scholar. So that way you know, and when your scholar leaves 12th grade, baby, they ready. They ready for whatever, okay? But they're not going to be ready, my love, if you're sitting in a public school and you don't even know what's going on. All right. So I want to challenge you to consider homeschooling if homeschooling is something that you are able to do. Is my child prepared for life when they graduate high school? You may answer that yes, because they have achieved a level of academic excellence. However, do they have a value system? Do they have morals? Okay, we see in the world today where a lack of morals, a lack of values has gotten us. All right, do your scholars respect authority? Do your scholars understand the world around them? Do they have the life skills that are essential for survival? Can they cook? Okay, can they boil some water? Okay, can they make some noodles? All right, I don't care if it's ramen, I don't care if it's spaghetti. They need to know how to be cooking, okay? But the public school system is no longer teaching that. The prison pipeline is real. All right, that is a real thing. I taught in the system, so I know, I've seen what this looks like for kids of all ages. All right? For kids. So in public school systems, we also see a lack of teacher preparedness. Okay, I went to school My bachelor's is in early childhood education. Shout out to Clark Atlanta University. Public school system is not investing in teachers in a way that is supportive for scholar learning. And so what is happening is teachers are coming out of school, they are coming out of their teacher programs, and they only have foundational knowledge. They only have pedagogy, but they don't have real world experience. They do not have what it takes to work with a post-pandemic child. They don't know what it had. They don't know what that looks like. They don't know what that sounds like. And so public school systems are not investing in teachers enough to prepare scholars for the real world. And so that is another disadvantage that we're up against, right? However, within the homeschool system, we see that if we prepare ourselves to be home teachers, if we do the proper research, if we do the proper study, if we get the proper knowledge, we are able to develop our scholar for these different things. Now, I can go on and on and on about the public school system. I am a product of the public school system. I've taught in public schools across the nation. I've seen the ins and outs of public schools, and I want to make sure that we understand that all public schools are not bad. All right, we have some phenomenal public school systems out here in the world, but unfortunately, there are more bad than they are good. And so if we are choosing, if we have the lifestyle that supports homeschooling, we want to make sure that we are choosing the best school for our scholars that is going to prepare them for the real world. We look to public school for support, right? We depend solely on the curriculum that our public school gives us. We don't look at the curriculum. Half of us don't even know Eureka from Scholastic, right? We don't know no curriculum. We don't get involved in our children's education when they are in the public school system. We send them to school, we drop them off at the bus stop, they go to school, they eat lunch there, some of them eat breakfast there, and we pick them up at 3 o'clock, baby. That's all we do. And so we want to get out of this mindset that we have to leave our scholars to the public school system for learning, right? And so we must understand that we have to get involved with the curriculums. If you're choosing to keep your child in public school, go to the school choice meetings, go to public school forum meetings so that you are in the know about what is happening at your school. All right. Another thing about public school that we see often is the lack of safety, right? We're seeing a lack of safety in public schools across the U.S., right? Of public schools across the nation. We're seeing an influx in violence. We're seeing an influx in scholars graduating, but they're underprepared, all right? They're not prepared for real life once they're graduating. So these are the issues that we're seeing in public school that homeschool is able to help.
So the very first advantage to public school versus homeschool would have to be the personalized learning experience. So we know that in public school, a lot of times scholars sit in schools, they're sitting in their classrooms with 25 other kids, all right, maybe even 30 other kids. In some instances, yes, you have smaller classrooms. However, in most instances, the average classroom size ranges from about 20 to 26 children in one classroom. However, when you are homeschooling, you are oftentimes, it is 1 to 3, all right? That is usually the ratio for scholars or parents that are choosing to homeschool their scholars. The ratio ends up being 1 to 3. That means that you are the only teacher in there with 3 scholars. In a homeschool setting, you are able to capitalize off the time that you spend on a certain subject. You're able to capitalize off of the needs of your scholar. So say for instance, you're like, okay, my scholar is having issues reading on grade level, or my scholar is having issues with long division, all right? You are able to take your time to teach these skills in a more intentional way so that your scholar understands and actually conceptualize these concepts without them feeling overwhelmed or without them feeling like they're rushed to learn a skill. All right, so that is a huge benefit because your scholar is able to get exactly what they need from you without them feeling intimidated by their class size and without them feeling maybe humiliated for asking questions. All of those things play a major major factor in choosing to homeschool, right? Also, I always encourage parents also, if you are in a neighborhood or if you are in a community that have invested in a homeschool set up for most of their families, you might want to partner with these different parents so that you all can create a personalized learning experience for 5 to 7 scholars. So that way scholars are still participating in the socialization piece of homeschool while still developing a personalized learning experience for your scholars, okay? And also, when it comes to personalized learning, you're able to choose the resources that you want to choose, all right? You're not subjected to Common Core standards as we see in the public school system. You are more so able to choose whichever curriculum you'd want to use. Teach Christian-based values, right? You are wanting to teach Black history, right? You are wanting to put music at the forefront of your curriculum. You are wanting to put art at the forefront of your curriculum. You have that choice as a homeschool parent versus you sending your scholar to public school. They are learning Common Core, period. They are learning Common Core. They are learning those standards for that particular state. They are learning Y equals MX plus B. All right, they are not going to be learning or having an intentional learning space conducive for your home scholar. So be sure that you are creating an environment that fosters things that are related to what children like, related to what scholars enjoy. Our public schools, and we're touring the schools, right? We're touring the learning facilities, wanting to see, okay, is this a school that I would want my child in? Is my child going to be receiving that one-on-one instruction? Will my child be able to survive? Will my child be able to learn the concepts that he or she needs to learn in order to better prepare them for what is ahead? All right, we want to make sure we're asking ourselves these questions before we decide to go into our homeschooling or a public school setting. All right, so yes, one of the main things I get when parents are coming to me asking about homeschooling is the fact that they are able to create their own schedules. All right, they are able to create their own schedules. They're able to create routines that are reflective of their needs and their scholars' needs. All right. Homeschool settings is that we don't set a routine for our scholars. We take the idea of homeschool, and instead of still having a routine, we just allow our scholars to do what they want to do, which is we don't want to do that. We still have to teach them discipline. We still have to do that by establishing these rules of time, establishing these boundaries of home versus school. All right. Yeah, though you are allowing a flexible schedule and you're allowing your scholar autonomy by giving them choice, it is still important to have still creating a structured routine within a flexible learning environment. All right. Yes, as we see in public school systems, everything is according to time. Everything is according to a specific pattern on how things are done throughout the day. Right. They arrive to school. They eat breakfast. They do this subject, they do this subject, and some of that we want to bring over into the homeschool setting. All right, we don't want to just say, okay, well, we're waking up at 10 a.m. we might get a snack at 10:30 and then we're going to try to learn for the next 2 hours. We don't want to do that, right? So when you wake your scholar up in the morning between 7:45 and 8:30, they are preparing for breakfast. They are they're gathering their materials for learning, right? Knowing that learning is going to begin at a particular time. Learning will begin at 10 a.m. or learning will begin at 11 a.m. whatever that looks like, but having a time schedule through your flexibility. There will be a time for a nap, there will be a time for play, but as from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. we are learning math. All right, and today our subject happens to be fractions. All right, so you want to make sure you are deciphering the time between home time and school time. So yes, and it will save you over time to be sure that you are in a sane space, because say for instance you do not have a schedule, right? If you do not have a schedule, what ends up happening for you is you can become unorganized. You can easily get frustrated because you are just going with the flow. You can deviate from this schedule. So say for instance on Mondays you usually do math Mondays, right? You do math Mondays, and this particular Monday you found an exhibit that you are wanting to take your home scholar to. That is the brilliance of homeschool. You're able to just on a Monday morning take your scholar to an exhibit, or on a Tuesday morning, you're able to take your child on a field trip. That is the brilliance of flexibility. However, you have to establish this connection so that scholars understand the importance of school, though they are at home. And you also want to make sure you draw the boundary of scholars being at home, but still in a learning environment. The safe learning environment. We want to create the safest learning environment for our scholars so that they feel safe, because safety is not only physical, safety can be emotional, safety can be mental. Not only are we providing a physical safety for our scholars, but we are also providing a mental safety for our scholars. They know that in this home, the things that go on in this home, we are learning here. We are safe to ask questions. We are safe to make mistakes. We are safe to do the things that we need to do to become better people. All right. And so public school does not always nurture the safety, the mental safety of our scholars, not only the physical safety of our scholars. So we want to make sure that when we are deciding to homeschool our scholars versus sending our scholars to public school, consider the level of safety that you want your child to have as they develop into who you have them to be, or to who they are called ultimately to be. This leads me to my next point of building stronger family bonds. All right, homeschooling allows you to bond with your scholar on a different level. All right, as you know, when you send your child to public school, you don't see them for 8 hours. Spending most of their time with their teachers, most of their time with their peers, right? And so you have no connection to this child. The only time you see this child is when you pick their scholar up from school and you go through dinner, all right? And then you go to bed, you wake up the next day, you're starting again, all right? And so what happens is when you homeschool, you are becoming your child's teacher. You are ultimately becoming the person that your child comes to for learning, all right? And so what that does is it creates a connection. It creates a bond for you and your scholar of trust. It creates a bond of you being their biggest advocate. It creates a bond of you being their biggest cheerleader. All right. So imagine your biggest cheerleader also being your teacher. All right. In that way, it's going to do what they can to be sure that you have everything that you need to be successful in school and to be successful in life. And so what happens is the family bond grows stronger significantly over time. And we want to ultimately make sure we're doing that, because in order to build a better world, we must start with building a better family system. And homeschooling helps us to do that because of the time we're able to spend with our scholars. All right. And I always tell people, public school was not designed for the family. All right. Public school was not designed for family bonding. Right. It was designed to get rid of your kids. I don't want to use the term get rid of because they're not. But basically, public school was designed for your kids to have a place to go while you at work. That's it. That's it. That's all. They needed the place. It was like, oh, well, we gonna have their parents at work from 9 to 5, or we gonna have their parents at work from 8 to 3. We gotta have some place for them to go. If we can't go to donut shop, anywhere can we go, right? They had to have a place for the kids to go. So guess what? The public school system is designed for an 8-hour day, an 8-hour work day, right? And so yes, be sure that you are utilizing this time as a homeschooling parent to build a significant relationship with your scholar, all right? Yes. Homeschooling parents or homeschooling scholars do not get a chance to socialize as they would in a public school setting, all right? And that is simply not true, because there are several ways for your scholar to still be socialized, right? I'm sure, parents are part of organizations, parents have friends, right? All of these different things allow for your scholar to join different sports groups, right? After school programs that are available to scholars who are not at that particular school. And I always encourage parents, find a homeschool co-op, or because when you find a homeschool co-op, that means that you're able to A, socialize with other homeschool parents, and B, you're able to have your scholars socialize with other kids that are experiencing the same systems that they are. All right, so they are able to socialize with their friends, they're able to join these different sports groups, and they literally miss nothing. All right, they miss nothing. And so what we realize is that they're getting this personalized learning during the day. In the afternoon, they're going over to their friend's house, they're going to baseball practice, they're going to cheer practice, meeting their friends from other places, other schools. And so we have to alleviate the myth that homeschooling children are not socialized. I also want to say some schools operate where you are able to do a hybrid system for your home scholar. I remember when I was working in a school out in Georgia where I had a scholar that would come in 2 to 3 days a week, and the rest of the week his mother would homeschool him. So look for programs that are like that, that are conducive for your scholar. So what happens is they're not missing nothing. They're still getting their socializing on. They're still able to interact with children that are their age. But now I will say this, when you do not socialize your scholar, you will run into challenges. And I say that to every parent. I remember working with a homeschool parent, and her child was the only child, and so what she had done was she ordered a program for her scholar to do these homeschool practices and do these homeschool lessons. However, her child would never interact with anybody her age. Her child would never go outside and play. Her child would never see anybody her age that she was able to speak to. Her child always either gravitated towards someone who was older or gravitated towards people who were well into their adulthood. All right, so that could be problematic for scholars. So it is important when choosing whether you want to do public school versus homeschool that you commit to being sure that your home scholar being socialized, right? They are in social environments for them to make friends, right? For them to learn how to share, for them to have social skills, right? We cannot your scholars life skills. Yes, teaching your scholars life skills. I cannot stress this enough. How many times I am in a high school classroom, I am teaching scholars ACT prep, and I always tell them how I cook on the side and I'm a chef and things like that when I am not teaching. And so I usually have scholars to raise their hand if they know how to cook. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been in and out of classrooms and scholars are like, Miss B, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And these are basic life skills, guys. Public schools are not teaching basic life skills anymore. When I was growing up, we had a class called home economics. I know some of y'all watching this video right now. Guess what? Y'all took home ec. Every day we went in home and we were making something, whether that was baking a cookie, whether that was baking a cake, whether we were making spaghetti, right? Whether we were sewing on a button, right? Whether we were making dolls to send to Africa, whether we were writing stories, right? Whether we were quilting, whether we were crocheting, right? All of these different life skills that are necessary. They're not teaching that in the public school. They are not teaching that in the public school system. So with the great thing about homeschool is that you get to incorporate life skills into your daily curriculum, right? If you're getting up in the morning and you know, okay, when I get up in the morning, I'm going to make a healthy breakfast, right? And I want my scholar today to participate in a healthy breakfast. We're going to make overnight oats with chia seeds and fruit, right? Yes, and then you can talk to your scholar about, where do oats come from, right? Where do chia seeds come from? What fruit, what tree, or what does this fruit come from the ground? Does this fruit come from a tree, right? All of these different things that you can teach your scholar while at home, right? So that is what I'm saying. Teaching life skills is an underrated skill. They're not doing it no more, y'all. They're not doing it. And the saddest part about it is we have become overly reliant on apps to get us food. Apps like Uber Eats, apps like DoorDash, apps like Postmates, right? We're relying on these people to bring us food. And our scholars are graduating high school, going into college, reliant on Uber Eats, relying on these apps and not even knowing how to make spaghetti. Make it make sense, right? Teach your scholar how to sew on a button. They shouldn't be coming to school with their tie untied. They should know how to tie a tie at home. And I don't want us to make an excuse about single parent home. Listen, my mother, when for the first 5 years of my life, my mother was a single mother, but she made sure that I had everything that a 2-parent household would have. If you do not know how to tie a tie, guess what? YouTube it. Play it on the screen. Today, scholars, we are not only learning fractions of a pizza, but we're also learning how to tie a tie. Okay? Make it make sense. Make it work for your home. Make it work for your home. And so this is what I'm here to tell you. Choosing public school versus choosing homeschool is what you need. These are the things that you need to consider. Well, when my child leaves this school, will they have the necessary tools to be a stand-up citizen? Will they have the necessary tools to be safe within themselves? Will they have the necessary tools to feel at home within themselves? To feel as if they don't have to academically excel above in order to be valued, all right? In order to have substance. Right? We have to make sure that we're instilling an intentional space for kids to be who they are. All right. And that is what homeschool does. It helps you to develop this in scholars. And when the scholars are intentionally sought after, when they're intentionally learning, they end up being who they were called to be and not who society has told them to be. All right, so we want to make sure we are considering the array of things when we are choosing public school versus homeschool. All right, yes, so once again, homeschooling does have an effect on a parent's mental health. I will tell you why. I have been in a homeschool setting for about 2 years with a parent, and the parent would frequently discuss burnout, frequently discuss overstimulation, right? Because they don't get a break from the children, all right? And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to challenge you to change your perspective. I am not saying that you need a constant break from your children, because if you need a constant break from your children, you might want to question why you have it. Okay? But you do need a break sometimes for your kid. Okay? So when you are homeschooling though, it's all day. It's all day. It's every day, baby. It coming to you. Can I have a snack? Can I do math? Can I do a game? Can I do this? Can I do that? They're going there. And so what happens is you don't really get the necessary time to recuperate because you're constantly at their disposal, right? You're constantly needing to connect with them, right? Unless you develop other routines. But for the most part, you are their sole provider. You are their sole responsibility. You are their sole advocate. And so you don't get a break. You don't get a chance to say, okay, well, I just need 2 hours, unless you put other parameters in place that helps you to do these things. So that can have a negative impact on your child's mental health, on your mental health, because if you're showing up frustrated, if you're showing up irritated, if you're showing up agitated because your scholar is steady bugging you all day, of course your scholar's going to feel like a burden. They're going to feel like they're getting on your nerves or whatever that may be. And so you have to make sure that you're deciding, okay, I don't want my scholar to feel like that. So is homeschool something that I can truly do? Be honest with yourself. Be honest. Too many people ain't being honest. They ain't being honest with themselves. I'm going to tell you right now, I would have to do a hybrid homeschool. You feel what I'm saying? Because sometimes I need a breather. I need a breather. I just need to meditate on what's going on. Okay, so what happens is make sure that you're considering that prior to you deciding to homeschool. All right, that is the truth. That's just it. That's just all. Then we're like, okay, well, yes, I can homeschool my scholar, but we don't know what that actually looks like. We don't know what that actually feels like. So it's best to look up different resources, look up the Homeschool Hub as I've been providing for you guys, and look up other families within your neighborhood that may be homeschooling. Look up online forums that may be helpful for you to choose whether you are wanting to take homeschool on full-time enroll, because you're constantly teaching your scholars whether you know it or not. So